So you're saying the cost per kilometer
is
8.552 billion?
Per standard gauge.
Per standard gauge.
Yes.
So how are you going to iterate for the 700 kilometers? Because I know the variations will be different.
Let me run my own.
Yeah, so run your numbers. So let's see.
My number is, if you divide, my own is 1.067, trillion. If you divide it by 47, 47.47, are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Now you will have the cost, but you will now multiply the cost by 5.167.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
My multiple standard gauge is 5.167. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then you will now have 4.329 billion per kilometer of standard gauge. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. So the cost comes out to about 8.5 billion.
No, that is for the one that was quoted.
So yours is
4.32.
4.32
yes.
billion per kilometer.
Yes.
So is journalism now officially the only profession in Nigeria where every Dick, Tom and Harry purpose to know what it takes to be a professional journalist? And you only need to go on social media to know how bad the situation is, especially in the light of this viral video.
After you had gone to report me in front of President
Anyways, the interview you just watched is about a year old.
So you're saying the cost...
And I will leave you to make up your own mind on whether or not the minister answered the question that was posed to him. Now, about 8 months after that interview, then comes Rufai again with the same question.
Give me empirical facts of how much you have spent for this first 30 kilometers that is about to be commissioned. How much you have spent in also the street light deployment and other things that you've deployed in these first 30 kilometers. So let us know a price range variation. If you can also give me kilometer by kilometer spending and some other empirical breakdown so we can see it. If you can't finish it here, you can send the documents to us so that we can just also assess the spending. Thank you, Minister.
We are not giving you another money until you exhaust that mobilization and end a milestone, over and above the mobilization.
Minister,
and this is what we are doing
kilometer.
to checkmate people that are portfolio contractors. And that is working. And that is what the president directed we should do. And that is what we are doing.
Cost per kilometer. Just give me the number. Cost per kilometer in this first 30 kilometers. Quickly, Minister. Cost per kilometer.
Well, Senator Umahi, I will go ahead with my question. Cost per kilometer, that can be communicated elsewhere, outside morning show.
Sure.
Okay, Rufai was asking you, what is the cost per kilometer of these roads? And he insists that you should answer that question.
The cost of the project, the cost of the project cannot be said
per kilometer.
This is one single cost per kilometer. Yes, but you were the one that stopped me when I was doing off-head calculation of that. And I arrived, and from the empirical factors, using the basic material cost in the market, to arrive at 4 billion per kilometer.
Now, I will leave you to determine whether or not the minister answered that $1 million question. Now, it doesn't seem Rufai is convinced by the minister's explanations. And like every good journalist should do,
after you had gone to report me,
he asked the same question a couple of days back in this tense exchange with the minister.
What Rufai was saying was very inciting. And I think he's very good at doing this, and he should desist from that because it's actionable.
Minister, would you
then lastly on this, yes.
I need a right of reply. And I'm sure you will allow me do a right of reply because it's obvious you came for me today, my very good minister friend. After you had gone to report me in front of President Tinubu and said all sorts, anyway, I am not beholden to you. My job is accountability.
You're too small for me to report you to the president.
No, but they are
You're too small
Minister,
for me to report you to the
Minister, let me
president.
speak. Minister, let me speak. I have empirical evidence. The world watched it on the commissioner of the project when you mentioned the questions I asked you to the president. That was reporting me to the president officially. The world watches, so you don't need to dilly-dally about the empirical facts. I don't talk without facts, Minister. When I have my facts, I talk. And I insist on my question when I ask on cost.
Rufai,
Let
I
me
can only address you
Minister,
in,
you will
a
not
forum like this.
you will not
I
allow
don't
me
have
speak.
your time.
The problem is you will not allow me speak. You spoke for over 20 minutes, over 10 minutes.
Because
now.
you don't know what you are speaking.
But let
you
me
don't know
speak.
what you are
Let me
speaking.
speak.
I
You
don't
will
know
not.
what your profession is.
You will not allow me speak. You see, if you can just keep quiet and be calm and just allow me speak, I'll be happy. All right. So my question still persists as regards the cost per kilometer. You cannot tell me that we don't have a right to know the cost per kilometer. Even if it's an undulating landscape, give us all the facts and the details of the cost per kilometer. That's all we'll ask for. Other questions as regards the loans taken. Let me finish.
No. I will
Let
keep
me
quiet
finish.
for you to damage
Let me
information.
finish.
Listen to me.
Minister, you will
Listen
not
to
allow
me.
me speak. The minister will not allow me speak.
No. Don't do that with me.
Minister will
Don't
not
do
allow
that
me
with
speak.
me. I was in your studio.
Minister will not
and
allow
when
me
the first section was on, and I ran the figures. And what you're asking us is 750 kilometers of coastal highway. We should tell you cost per kilometer. So you multiply by 750. That's nonsensical.
No, so tell me the cost per kilometer. There's nothing too hard for you to tell me that figure. You've not still told me that figure, so I was right on that point. The second point,
because you don't understand anything.
The second point I'm trying to make is
You don't understand anything. I'm a professor in this field.
Okay.
You don't understand anything.
What university gave you professorship in this field?
And you cannot ask me to tell you a cost.
What university gave you professorship in engineering? I didn't know you were Professor Umahi, Minister. I didn't know. So please, you've not been able to.
I'm professor in practice.
In practice.
I'm professor
okay.
in practice.
Okay.
I understand engineering very well.
So secondly,
and you have no knowledge of what you're asking.
If you will let me,
you have no knowledge.
If you will let me ask.
So
questions.
you keep quiet.
Okay.
And then stop.
Okay.
You know.
Minister, it's all right. Keep dignifying yourself and let the world see you for who you are. If you allow me speak. The other 100 kilometers that you said they've added to it, we would like to know the cost per kilometer of that one.
You know, this guy makes me, it makes me, to laugh, at a very high level of ignorance. I was in Edo State and I said, listen, the president has directed, 100 kilometers of the coastal highway to pass through Edo State. And this man is asking me how much per kilometer. This 100 kilometers has not been designed. There has not been a soil report on it. And so why are you asking me, is it to name a child or to do a birthday for a child that is still in the belly of, a mother? That's what he said. So, and he's doing it, what is the cost per kilometer? What is the cost per kilometer? Listen, in this kind of project, you are not dealing with a cost per kilometer. You can't say this is an average cost per kilometer. So I'm teaching you English now. You can talk about an average cost per kilometer because every 1 kilometer is different in cost from the other kilometer. So you can talk about cost, average cost per kilometer. Now, Rufai, that project has not been designed. The soil report is not out. That process is ongoing. So it is at the end of Federal Executive Council approval that we'll be able to say this project is costing this amount and the average cost is this amount.
Okay, so you have not designed that project, yes. What about the cost per kilometer of the one you have done thus far?
This is elementary. How can you be asking for cost per kilometer in the process of construction?
Now, one long-standing tradition in basic journalism ethics is that journalists should not become the story. Now, I'm not saying Rufai did wrong by trying to hold the minister's feet to fire. No. But the very moment he started saying things like this, he was invariably making it about himself.
After you had gone to report me in front of President Tinubu and said all sorts, you will not allow me speak. You see, if you can just keep quiet and be calm and just allow me speak, I'll be happy.
Then stop,
okay. Minister, it's all right. Keep dignifying yourself and let the world see you for who you are.
Because the moment a journalist toes that line, such individual has invariably handed over the direction of travel of that interview to their guests. So that instead of focusing on the issue at hand, the interview is now centered around everything but the issues that matters to the public. Rufai often asks a lot of relevant questions, but in the business of journalism, the how matters. And by that I mean how you ask those questions matters, which is something Rufai and a lot of his admirers don't really give a heck about. Truth is, Rufai's current very aggressive interviewing approach on the surface might come across as effective, but to the trained eyes, it is a very counterproductive approach. As a matter of fact, it presents its guests the leeway to deflect from answering the oftentimes very reasonable questions that Rufai asks. But herein lies the problem with journalism in Nigeria, a country where very little or no investigative journalism is prioritized. Because if Rufai had asked this same question at least 3 different times and wasn't satisfied with the answers he got, I would have thought that embarking on a private investigative inquiry would have been the smart thing to do. And if he doesn't have the time to embark on it, couldn't he pass that idea to the investigative desk of Arise? That for me is smarter than the daily download of emotions that we witness on national TV almost every morning. Now to Minister David Umahi. And I'm not going to comment on his professional competence for obvious reasons. But the truth is, the way this man carries himself in public leaves much to be desired. And I think he met his match in Rufai. I mean, who goes on national television claiming to be what he's obviously not?
The second point
Because you don't understand anything.
The second point I'm trying to make is
You don't understand anything. I'm a professor in this field.
Okay.
You don't understand anything.
What university gave you professorship in this field?
And you cannot ask me to tell you a cost.
What university gave you professorship in engineering? I didn't know you were Professor Umahi, Minister. I didn't know. So, please,
I'm professor in practice.
In practice.
I'm professor in practice.
Okay.
I understand engineering very well.
So secondly,
and you have no knowledge of what you're asking.
If you will let me.
I mean, who does that? And who does this?
Yes, you mentioned the ESIA is currently being carried out by...
Sister, I was raised in the village. Me, I'm not here for now.
Well, sorry,
try to speak.
I can't help the way I speak. You mentioned that the ESIA was being carried out at the moment. The EIA Act of 1992.
I need interpreter.
Well, you have enough people next to you. So can we have a copy of the
It is federal government
approval?
that gives the approval. It's not you.
So can we have a copy of the preliminary approval?
We have the approval.
And you can make that public to the media?
Everything in order.
Okay, thank you.
And that's vintage David Umahi, the man who now wants to be respected. Truth is, both the minister and Rufai Oseni are children born from the family of the pot and the kettle.